Welcome back to another tutorial on how to be able to program within GameMaker Studio 1.4. As you saw in our previous tutorial, we helped set up how to create your first project using the scripting function within GameMaker. In today's tutorial, what we're going to do is show you how to add in controller support into GameMaker. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the previous project that I made, which was the advanced platformer from the last tutorial. So once it's opened up, you'll be familiar, as you can see, with the hero and the wall sprites that we previously made, along with the objects that we made, the hero and the wall. So just to familiarise ourselves from the last tutorial, what we did is we created our initialized variables, which help set up our gravity, our horizontal vertical speeds, as well as our jump and our move speeds. But the primary area we're going to be looking at during this tutorial is our get the player's input. So as you can remember from our last tutorial, we helped use this to set up our movement as well as our collisions when we come into contact with a wall, whether it's vertical or horizontal. So the add in controller support is remarkably easy. First thing you need is obviously this project and with this script. The second thing you're going to need is a controller. Now I'm going to personally recommend using a wired Xbox 360 controller. Try to find a controller that is already wired dedicated. If you're running Windows 10 and you've got an Xbox One S or one of the new Bluetooth controllers, you can use that as well. Just ensure that you are connected up carefully to the computer as well. You can use a PS4 controller as long as you've got the correct drivers installed. You can either use that wirelessly or wired. I recommend using the DS4 drivers if you are going to use that. But for this tutorial, I'm going to go ahead and use a wired 360 controller. And to do this, really simply, at the top here where we've got our key right, and our keyboard, check virtual keyboard underscore right, I'm just going to go ahead and delete the semicolon. Because rather than end the line of code here, I'm actually going to add to it. So this time, I'm going to go ahead and add in something called an OR function, which are two vertical lines. So the purpose of this is what we're going to say is, key underscore right equals when we press the right button on our keyboard, or we're going to then use the joystick on our controller to move right as well. So to do this, I'm going to go brackets gamepad underscore axis underscore value. Now here we need to be able to give a value of our movement, as if we're going to the right, we want to make sure that we're going positively. So in brackets, I'm going to type 0. The purpose of 0 means player 1 equals 0. Obviously, if you were going to set up and you were going to play a video game with one of your mates, you would be player 1 and your mate would be player 2. But in terms of programming, the first number in a timeline would be 0. So for us, as I'm going to be playing this on my own, player 1, as in me, will be 0. Comma, GP, and GP is the abbreviation for gamepad, or as we know it would be a controller, underscore, the axis that we're going to be working along, and we're going to be using L, which is the left analog stick on our controller, and H for the horizontal axis, and then close brackets. But as we're moving positively, we want to make sure that this is greater than 0, to ensure that we are moving in the correct direction that we want. And then I'm going to go ahead and end off that line. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to add in our moving left. Just as before, I'm going to go ahead and add another OR statement. And in brackets, gamepad underscore axis underscore value. Again, because I'm using my first controller and I'm player 1 again, I'm going to go ahead and add a 0 in there. Comma, GP underscore axis LH, as we're still moving along the horizontal axis but using the left analog stick on our controller. But this time, if we're going left, we want to be going negatively on our timeline, and that would be less than 0, close brackets. So that's it, we've now got movement in for moving left and right. The last thing we want to do is add in our jump. But this time, I'm going to add in another OR statement, and I'm going to say, in brackets, gamepad underscore button underscore check underscore pressed. So just like we've got here for our keyboard check pressed, when we press the space bar, This time we want to say if we press a certain button on our controller. Again, we're player 1, so we're going to be 0. I'm going to put GP underscore face 1. And make sure we've got 2 brackets there so we can balance them off on both sides. Face 1 is A. So there are 4 faces on our controller, which are going to be, depending on the controller you're using, A, B, X and Y, or it's going to be for PS3 and PS4, cross, square, triangle and circle. Now, to help you familiarise yourself with the buttons that we use on a controller, I'm going to go ahead and add a controller map to the description of this video, so you can go ahead and check it out so you know which button goes to which function within GameMaker. And that's simply it. So make sure that you've spell checked everything, you've lined off your ends of code, you've got your correct brackets in there in the correct amount, balanced it. Once you've done that, go ahead and press the green tick, run your project, and then eventually once it's built, your game will appear and you should successfully be able to move using your controller. And there you have it. We do have one little problem going left, so what I'm going to do is, to ensure that we're still going left, I'm just going to go back into our get the player's input. Now you can see, as we're moving negatively on our axis, moving horizontally, I want to ensure that we do have everything here linked up. So to do that, all I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put an open bracket here in before keyboard, but after the minus, put one right at the end down here at the 0. This is to ensure that we do have everything here grouped, and then this minus here applies to the entire line of code and not just this function here. So once you've done that, I'm now going to go and press the green tick. I'm going to run the game again, and hopefully this time we will have movement going left and right. And as you can see, now as we've grouped everything together, if I jump, press space, and on our controller as well, we can now move successfully left and right with our keyboard and now the support of a controller. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope you've been able to learn something from this. We're very happy that you came along and watched another tutorial from us, and we've got a few more videos coming out very soon. Thank you very much, and thank you for watching.